about Pandemic, right? So the basic plot in the simplest form is pretty much a zombie apocalypse. That's the basic thing. They need to find a cure. That's pretty much what it is, right? So for me personally, I really had a fun time with this movie. Now, granted, it's not really spectacular, and I'm going to go with some positives, some negatives right here, right now, right? Overall, this thing is fun, as I just said, and it is entertaining for the most part. Sometimes it does drag a little bit for me personally, but I think it actually does its first job. Any movie should really do, and that is to pretty much entertain you. And that, if they do that first, then they actually succeed just in general, right? Next thing I would actually say is the cast, right? Now, granted, the cast don't really do anything spectacular that you're going to rave about in, the papers, whatever it may be, but I am a fan of the cast, and I say you can almost see if you're a fan of any of those people just in general, and that's being Mekhi Phifer, Missy Powell, and Rachel Nichols. I think they're solid enough actors, and they carry their parts fairly well, right? Now, a couple other things is that if you're a video gamer, right, if you love these first-person shooters, and this type of genre is starting to kind of pick up some pacing here, then I think you're definitely going to kind of enjoy this movie just in general. Just be prepared that sometimes it does kind of get a little bit, like I said, it does drag a little bit to the point where it's just like, all right, I really wish it just be a normal conversation, not like a first-person viewing thing, quite frankly, a third-person conversation look to the film. But it doesn't really do that. But I think this movie does have some interesting aspects when it comes to the action scenes. Some of the action scenes are quite good. It's nice, bloody and gory, it's vicious and whatever. And I think it could be actually quite fun. Now, granted, the negatives kind of come into play is the dialogue, right? Now, this movie is not taking itself too serious, and that's not a bad thing just in general. It's just that it's almost like bad video game dialogue sometimes. And I guess that's what they were trying to go for. And maybe sometimes it doesn't really work. And maybe you want to almost throw up sometimes with the, shaky cam or whatever it may be. And it does kind of make your stomach get a little bit unsettled, right? But I think the biggest problem is that this movie really just feels like it was contained inside of the zombie apocalypse box, right? There's not really anywhere you can go with fresh ideas and when it comes to anything with the zombie apocalypse, right? You've seen every fucking thing out there. There's a whole bunch of cliches in here that you could just check off a fucking list. And that's one of the big problems with this film, quite frankly. And maybe it's not its fault, quite frankly, or maybe it's just that they put themselves into too big of a box, right? There's no fresh ideas you can really take the zombie apocalypse, right? There's fast zombies, there's slow zombies, whatever it may be. It's a little bit of both in here, I guess you could say, but there's really nowhere else to really go, and I think that's one of the biggest problems. You just feel like you've seen all this before, even with the first-person viewing thing, just in general. And then it kind of just comes across as just like, okay, it's decent, but there's no fresh ideas here. There's no original ideas other than maybe the first-person thing, but even that's been done. Now, granted, if you want to see this, go ahead and see it. Like I said, I gave you my positives, and that's pretty much all I can really say. It's entertaining, so I say it's a solid enough watch. But that's my review. Comment, subscribe, and like. I'm Chris Smith. Help me get to 400 subscribers. I'm signing out.